So the first question I have for the panelists is, many students feel pressured to choose the right major early. How did you discover the path that aligned with your skills, your interests, and your values? And what advice would you give to students who feel unsure right now?
Good morning again, everyone. Excuse me. So I love that we've been saying like life is a journey, and there is a lot of pressure to know what it is that you're going to do for the rest of your life. Does anybody feel that pressure? Do you feel a little bit? So I wasn't the one that knew exactly where I was going to be, but I knew that I wanted to help people, specifically being able to help my community. So I was intentional in saying that I'm from St. Louis. I'm from the city of St. Louis, born and raised, and I understand the needs of our community, and I've always been passionate about how do we help essentially lift people out of poverty. Like, how can I help our people? So my journey really went in that direction. So when I was in school, I was really focused on like substance abuse. Then I went into wanting to open up an elementary school. Then I started helping young people as a mentor. But then I ended up in school for social work, and now I work at a construction company. It's a journey, right? So the best advice, thank you so much, that I could really give to y'all to just start off this panel, I know we have a lot of other perspectives as well, is really follow your heart and your purpose. And if you don't know exactly what that is right now, it's okay. But live in the moment and be your best self right now. And as you continue to meet people, as you continue to network, ask questions and learn more about what opportunities are available. And doors will start opening up for you over time. So you don't have to have the answer, but you do have to be open to meeting more people, to networking, and just being open to opportunities. And then let life lead you to wherever it is you're supposed to be. So I'll just start with that.
Thank you. So the first thing for me is knowing who you are. You have to discover yourself first. You have to know who you are for you to know where you want to be. So for me, I started out as a biochemist. I went to school and then graduated, worked in a pharmaceutical, but then it's just my personal story. So when I lost my elder brother, the healthcare system that he was at was a failed system, sorry to say that. So I saw that there was a gap, and I wanted to be part of those that filled that gap. So I am glad that I listened to some of you that mentioned helping people. So in life, it's a part of life's journey. It's helping people, and in return, you are helping yourself get fulfilled. So what did I do? I went back to the healthcare, trying to fix it. And what am I doing? I chose the path of a clinical nurse specialist. Who is a clinical nurse specialist? A clinical nurse specialist is not just an expert clinician who sees patients like the nurse practitioners. So we bring quality to healthcare, and that is my passion. So I wanted to be able to help people. And I know in life, when we talk about help, a lot of people think it's about money. What can you give to people? In my own perspective, I felt that I could help people with my knowledge. So I am originally from Nigeria, and in Nigeria, our healthcare system is not like it is here. So over there in Nigeria, people could go to the store, we call it the chemist store, and buy any kind of medications that they want. Now, people that do that don't have any knowledge of what they are doing. It's just the norm. Now, when I went into healthcare, I wanted to be able to help my people with the knowledge that I gained. I wasn't even thinking about the money aspect of helping. I'm thinking about my own intellect. What can I give back to the people that I left? So it's all about helping, but first, know who you are. Know who you want to become, and that will direct your path. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I think for me, it all started when I was a student at University of Missouri. I was a journalism major, so I was there. You know, I was taking classes. So when you're an undergrad, they make you take all these classes. You know, you're taking biology, you're taking physics, you're taking English, all these different composition classes and whatnot. So actually, my junior year, I took a class in public administration and public policy, and I was just fascinated. I was blown away. I learned about nonprofit organizations. I learned about community development. I learned about city planning and how to make community impacts. And it was just fascinating. And all of a sudden, the light just went off really quickly. And I thought about, okay, I took all these journalism classes, and now I'm sitting here. So it meant also tacking on another year, maybe one more year for me to graduate. But it was something that I was very passionate in. So to make a long story short, graduating from University of Missouri. I get home, and then I was able to get my first job out of college, which was at Beyond Housing. So there, I learned about community investment. I learned about how to enrich neighborhoods and how to community build and neighborhood stabilization and all those types of things, and also how to build and create wealth for communities that are underserved, and just need probably just really just an investment of really just a little bit of just one little bit of a push to kind of just get them just to this next step or just to that next run in the ladder basically. So that's so really for me it's just that's when the light went off, and then for me also too it was just that it was never really it really wasn't work at that point in time. It turned into my passion. It turned into something that I was really excited to do. Every day that I would wake up. So it wasn't about 8 hours. It wasn't about 10 hours. It was really about making impact and just trying to make my community and just everyone that lives in my community just to try to make it just a little bit better than it was when I first embarked on this journey. So now I'm a banker now, and I've done a lot of the same type of work. I work with small businesses. I help them get access to capital. I help entrepreneurs be able to take that next revenue step to grow and to also create jobs for people. I work in like the market tax credits, where I'm helping to help build structures or help to build to fill gaps where financing gaps might be. So I actually use a lot of the same finance prowess to help still empower and to help build my community. So that's a little bit of my journey. So happy to share that.
I'll be brief. So I actually grew up about 3 minutes from here. You could walk to where I grew up. It was basically North St. Louis, and it was a very impoverished area. So one thing that has always driven me is staying close to my community, helping my community, and always knowing that I could have been the individual that didn't make it, right? So that has really driven me throughout my entire career. I'm a pharmacist by trade, so I have a PharmD. I initially wanted to be an American history teacher. I spoke a little bit about how much immigrants have contributed to the fabric of America, and that's something that I've always focused on just throughout my life. But I learned probably in high school that my focus really was also with chemistry. So I love organic chemistry, I love science and math. And I just kind of fell in love with healthcare. And I saw the disparities in the communities that I lived in at the time, and just the maternal health outcomes, the asthma. And I really wanted to make a difference in the communities that I actually lived in, and I still serve in those communities. I'll say a little bit about money, because money is something we talk a lot about purpose, but you need money, right? So I will say that part of your decision has to be on what type of lifestyle you want. So definitely it's purpose, and you're not going to be happy in a job that gives you a lot of money that you don't feel fulfilled with that job. But part of the decision, part of what you want to do in life, you do have to sit and figure out what type of lifestyle do I want to have. And that was one of the decisions that made me not choose American history and to go towards the pharmacy career. Just a quick story though, when I graduated from pharmacy school, the majority of my colleagues, they went to, at the time, chain pharmacy. So they went to a Walgreens or Walmart, which paid about $60,000 to $70,000 more than where I decided to go. I decided to go to a community health center and take a huge pay cut. But that's where my heart was, in the community. But fast forward to 2 years later, they were still plateauing at their specific salary, and I had already doubled it. So the point is, the money will follow. The money will follow if you put in the work and you have a passion for it. You may not start off with 500 grand, but if you put the work in and you have the passion, believe me, the money will follow.
Yourself, and also being realistic about what your goals are and how you want to live your life in the future. And speaking of how you want to live your life in the future and finances, what are the most critical financial skills youth are missing today? And how can immigrant youth best develop these skills to achieve long-term stability?
Well, I would say, I think number one, I think when it comes to finances, I think it's more behavioral than we oftentimes, quantify for the most part. I think starting young, I think it really starts with, needs versus wants. There's a lot of, wants that we have, and then also there, needs. So being able to kind of differentiate, between the two. So I think that's very important. I know oftentimes we hear about budget, but it's really about spending. Having a spending plan and knowing what's most important and what's not important and whatnot. And I think also too, with financial education and financial literacy, it's really, I think it even starts at day one. It starts with, you get into I guess the credit part of it and everything, but credit is everything nowadays. It's even when you go to get your first job or whatnot, they look at credit reports, they look at things of that sort. So, for some people it may be kind of the younger, we might be at a younger age, but probably around like once you get to like 17, 18 years old, becomes, very important. And one thing I always say when it comes to credit, the first thing is accuracy. The first time that you see your credit report, you just want to make sure it's accurate, because like nowadays with everything that's going on as far as information that's out there, and there's cyber crimes and people that can actually get into your information, everything. The first thing you want to do is just make sure all that information is accurate, and that's that part is very important. And then the last thing I'll leave with is investing. Everything. It's never too early to think about investing. I think about and look at now, kind of been working for a while. I think about the savings and investments that I have, and I think to myself, what if I would have started when I was 22 or started when I was 21? I didn't get a lot of that information, so I made a lot of mistakes, unfortunately. So I know, like, once you get to a certain age, you'll be approached with credit cards and other things of that sort. It's also just good to look at those things and just think about, are these things really necessary right now, or are they, do I really need these things at that moment? So that's very important. But I just always say, like we talked about journey, when it comes to finance, it's definitely a journey, and the earlier that you start, the better. So I could probably go on and talk about finances all day, but I just think all those things are very important.
I'll just say something and quickly, and it's related to what I talked about with comparison, and comparing your life to other people's lives, and comparing what other people have to your life. It's so important to live within your means. I think that is the biggest takeaway that I learned from my family and in life, and that your life doesn't have to look like what everybody else's car has or what everybody else's house looks like. There's so much peace. There's so much peace in living within your means. So I would just urge everyone, I know we all want certain things in life, but there's just a peace that you cannot get from living outside of your means. So just really focus on what can I afford, because when you start getting to that realm of getting to things that you can't afford, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of issues that you'll have to deal with that. So I just focus on just living your life, and that doesn't look like what's on Instagram or what a celebrity has. It's what you are comfortable with and what you need for your life.
They brought up very good points. One about the financial education component and understanding what to do with your money and the behavior, and also living within your means. So, as you know, being in American culture, it's really driven by, it seems like it's driven by what you have, and it's very materialistic. And sometimes, and I don't know you all's experience, I hope to get to know you all's perspective at some point, But it can be very driven by, again, the materials and wanting to have what other people may have, and it can feel like pressure if you don't have it. Well, as immigrants, you have a power that a lot of us don't have because you have global connections. So some of you all being from, I talked to a young lady from Kenya who has family in London and people who have family in Nigeria. You have the opportunity to make what we call a global impact. So we can talk about what your independent lifestyle is, but the skill that you all have, and I want you to harness, is think about globally, how can you not only make a difference for yourself and your family here, but how can we start using the digital economy, because that's another thing that we have to be intentional on. We don't use cash as much anymore. So through social media and through digital payments and global transactions, I want you all to start thinking about how can we create businesses and how can we create opportunities to network with your people, with our people across the globe. So yes, you have opportunity here in America, but you're here to also expand because there's so much power within the African diaspora too. So just utilize what we have, what you're learning, and always remember to just stretch back because we have to build the global economy. It's bigger than just us. If I can impart anything, y'all, like let's make it bigger than us.
So for me, health is wealth. I liked when Dr. Kendra talked about taking care of yourself. So sometimes we don't even think about it. It's cheaper to take care of your health than it is to when you are sick than to take care of your sickness. So when we talk about finances, a lot of it ties back into ourselves. Initially, when I talked about discovering who you are and who you want to be, so what is it in you that is you? When you look at other people, you want to become the next person. I want you to start thinking backwards. This is who I am. It also ties back into what Dr. Kendra said about living within your means. So when you discover yourself, you invest in yourself, and that is the financial piece of it that we don't think about.
I kind of want to touch on the discovering who we are. What are some things that high school students, college students can do right now to kind of learn a little bit more about who they are and what their future should hold for them?
So when I talk about discovering who you are, everybody is unique. No two individuals are made alike. That is how powerful God is. We are all unique in our own different ways. And you know yourself. There are things that you are very good at. Nobody can tell you that. Even your parents can't even tell you. Within yourself, you know that there is a thing that you are very good at. That is one. And then there is something that you enjoy to do. Something that gives you peace. Something that makes you happy. These are all the parts, and pieces of discovering yourself. You have to know what you are made of. Like, who you are ties into what makes me glad. What do I enjoy doing? What can I do? Because when you know what you can do, then you start looking out and seeing where your potential is needed. And then you can develop that even more.
The current culture. So again, I think we can probably have one-off conversations about your experience, but the current culture that you may see online or on social media, you may not, but I see it everywhere. That's not who we are. You are powerful, you are intelligent, and it's in the soul and depth of who we are. What you come to be, whether it's your career or these other superficial things that we get to do, that's a part of the journey. But you are expected to be excellent, and you are expected to make, again, that impact for yourself And in terms of discovery, you have to stay grounded and rooted in that. Because as you continue to get older and all these other influences and distractions start to happen, sometimes we can lose ourselves. But if you remember the greatness that you are supposed to be and that you truly are, that's going to help you on your path of discovery, because you're the only person that could really say what your true values are. Who is it that you want to show up in this world as? That's going to be a decision that you make. But the gift that you have is just through the soul, again, through the soul of who you are, it's already in you. So you get to choose how much you want to live up to that. And you get again to choose how you want to represent yourself in the world. But just always remember that piece. Being at that age, again, you're going to figure out what you like, what you don't like, what your values are. But just remember that you are supposed to be great, and whatever that greatness is will come along in the journey.
I think with self-discovery, it just really comes down to, I would just say, just opening yourself up and, and just reading, and just viewing as much as you can. Because I just think back to, like, even just my younger travels and how I, discovered, like public administration, public policy type work. It was just being open-minded to just different things and just being willing to, to learn new things and whatnot. So I think that's really what I would impart. And then also, I just think it's just, really just finding just, where that passion is and everything. Because, like I was talking about earlier, it's, it's really, it's not that, when it becomes work, it's just going to be something that you just have to just do like every day. It becomes mundane and just becomes just some kind of, it's really just something that you just do every day. But when it's something that you're passionate about and everything, it's something that you can actually put your own personal imprint on, and it's something that you can grow, and it's something that you can own, and something that you can actually harvest and make, and then you can actually turn that into greatness, basically. And then also too, when it comes to chasing, I wouldn't chase those and not the money aspect of it, because if you become great at something, become something that you're really passionate about, money will come at that point or whatever. So that's what I would say, is just to really just to read a lot and just and always just be open-minded and just look for things that are really aligned with your passions.
Self-discovery for me was and is about being authentic. It's being who I am authentically, and in the current society, and especially in corporate America or any type aspect of America, there's always a stereotype, or there's a way that they feel that we are going to act, or the way that we should act. And what has really helped me in life is just being absolutely authentic of who I am. I don't have a different voice in a room with white people. I don't act a different way. My culture is my culture. I lead with being a person of color, and that grounds me, and that really helps me to just establish, walking into the room, that this is who I am, and I don't have to change myself for anyone else's comfort. So I would say really focusing on being authentic, and there's going to be pressure to not be yourself. There's going to be pressure to, if you conform to this certain culture or this certain way of being, that you will get farther in life or you will be more successful. And I will say that it is a lie, because your diversity, your being authentically you, is something that they can never compete with. And that's why they want you to conform, because they can't compete with the diversity. They can't compete with the culture and the richness that is people of color, that is immigrants, that is people of the African descent. So I would say be authentic, be yourself, and come to the table every time just being you.
Thank you so much. And with that authenticity, we're going to pivot a little bit more into tangible skills in terms of college, trades, alternative pathways. So with authenticity, we recognize that college is not the only path to success. How should students evaluate options such as trades, certifications, entrepreneurship, or direct entry into the workforce? And how can families support these decisions?
So I mentioned I work at a construction company. So we do heavy civil construction. So that's gonna be any of your highways, railroads, bridges, airport taxiways. So anything with concrete, and transportation drives on it, that's what our company does. Through that, I have the opportunity to understand the trade side of things in a way I didn't fully understand at first. So when you are considering what route you wanna go, first think about what type of environment you wanna be in. You wanna think about, are you an outdoors person? Do you like to work with your hands? Do you like to be in an office? You have to think about what skills do you wanna do for the rest of your life? And then you can also look and see what opportunities for certifications or entry are into it. So for us at Millstone Weber, we have a program called Project PAVE, and with Project PAVE, we're exposing students to careers in STEM and construction. So we talk about engineering a lot in the design of the work, but we also introduce you to becoming a carpenter or a laborer or a cement mason. Those are the people that's actually out there, or even an operator, just to name a few. Through the construction industry too, you also could be an electrician, a plumber. You have so many trade options that are available. In order to get access to that, I know the library has been having some options in terms of different trade-specific certifications. You can also talk to your school counselors. So funny enough, I have 2 mentees that I didn't even know was a part of your organization. One of which he came through our internship program, and he was with us for 2 years, and now he's continued on into college. And then another young lady, her resume came across my desk, and I took her on as an intern for my personal business. Okay, I text them both. I'm like, this is full circle. So I had to plug them because this is like, I love y'all. But truly, understanding what certifications, I'm sure you can speak about the medical field because it's a lot that you can do without going directly for college. In that aspect, but in terms of college, construction and the trades, the unions, if you stay in St. Louis, it's a huge union town, so that's what your training is gonna come from. You have apprenticeship opportunities to where you can get into the trades and you can learn while you're also you can earn while you're also learning about the work. But I would encourage you all too to just, again, be your authentic self, be willing to speak up, be willing to ask questions. Don't feel like anything is a bad question because the construction industry is very fast paced. They're looking for people who are confident in themselves, that's willing to ask questions. And when it comes to career growth, it's really exponential in terms of how you can grow in your career and how families can support. You can also do your part as well by just doing research on the different programs and opportunities that are available. And just being open-minded if they say they don't want to go to college, because you can also, if you have skills as a young person, you can start a business. Again, I love business, so using those skills and figure out how you can multiply that on a global scale is also very lucrative, and I don't think we acknowledge that enough. But never stop learning. Don't ever let people tell you that just because you didn't choose to go to college that it's an excuse to not learn. College is a pathway. So many opportunities within the trades. We have a huge gap in our workforce, so we definitely need more people to consider construction. I will be more than happy to talk about that more at another time. But yeah, just be open-minded and be supportive.
For me, I think everything is business. Even if you think yourself as a lawyer, as a doctor, as whatever professional you think, you are working for a business. So I keep an open mind. Whatever my child decides to become, as long as it is positive, I support it. Because you can become whatever you want to be, as long as it is positive. So as parents, we try to keep open mind and help our children become who they want to be. Because it pays off in the long run, allowing them to be who they really want to be versus forcing them into something that we want them to be. Because sometimes I talk to my kids about healthcare. They don't want to be in healthcare because they see what I go through. Like, I work the night shifts. As a matter of fact, I have not slept since yesterday morning. I went to an event in the morning around 9, came home, took the kids to somewhere, and came back and went to work. And from work, I'm here, and I'm going back to work in the night. So they see all this stress. They don't want to be in healthcare. So whatever they want to be, I'll support them and help them grow, because wherever they see themselves, it's either business or you are a professional working for a business. That's how I see it.
Well, one thing I would say is to like utilize like the power of like informational interviews. With like one, I mean, like with perception, you know, we can say, oh, I want to go on wealth management. This is what I want to do. I want to be an attorney or whatnot. You may have those aspirations, but one thing I would say is that reach out to someone who's actually in that field and ask them, you know, hey, can I shadow you for a day, or hey, can I, you know, have some correspondence with you over a period of time, or even through various networks that's such as powerful as this particular network. If there's a different profession, ask, you know, a mentor, someone in that particular program, hey, can I just have an informational with you? Can I sit down with you for like maybe an hour or whatnot, just to learn about what does your day-to-day look like? You know, at 8 o'clock, or what's your meeting schedule look like, or what's the interface look like, or you know, what are the ups and downs of that particular field and you know, whatnot. So I think that part is very important, because you know we see a lot of like, especially like in the law field, you know, we see like on shows where we see the glamour, the glory that looks that we see on the aesthetic side, at least on the outside of it, but we really don't know what the day-to-day of that particular profession, you know, looks like. So I just think that that's an opportunity really to like, you know, reach out to people that are in a particular field that you have interest in, and just ask them for like an informational interview or informational session, just to learn more about that field. I think you'll find out then, does that particular field, you know, does it align with, you know, your passions and things that you know, that you would have interest in, and then that would just really give you kind of a day-to-day to really have a really keen understanding of that particular field, because that's actually one of the things that I did, like when I was studying journalism, and I went through the day-to-day of it. It was hard, and I was just like, I don't think this will probably align with, you know, with what I like to do or not. So I mean, so it gave me a greater respect for journalists and everything, and I just knew that it wasn't a fit, and it made me pivot to a different field. So I just think there's a lot of informational learning just in that, you know, by taking that particular route.
I would just add that all paths don't end the same way. So you can start on one path and end up in a completely different path or a different career, and that's completely okay. So sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and say, you know, I want to be this, and this is the goal, and I have to be this. Well, I started off as a staff pharmacist. I had no real motivations to become the CEO of the organization, but that's how it ended up. So I would say definitely do your research and determine what is your passion, but also to not stress, because you may just very likely not end up where you started, and that's completely okay. That's life. Life for everyone is you start on one path and you may end up on a completely different path. So do your research, but breathe, don't stress, you'll get there.
Alrighty, and I want us to give a big round of applause for all of our panelists. We'll be here for some questions afterwards if you have them, and I'm going to give the mic back to Ms. Susan.
Thank you. Let's appreciate. Let's appreciate them as they go back to their country. Thank you so much. Are we still here? Are we still here?
Yeah.
Touch your nose. Touch your nose. I see some people are not with us. Where's your nose? Is your nose here? Your nose is here. Okay. Anyway, so what you're going to do now is lunch. You're going to break off, right? Awesome.
Very good question. Sebastian, can you read this for me? We are just friends. We have no relationship with Sebastian.
Wow, variants exist across the continent. The African proverb, often cited as, if you see a tortoise on a fence post, you know it didn't get there by itself.
That's good enough. Did everybody hear that? What did it say? When you see a what? On a what? And did not do what? What does that even mean? Why use that particular animal? Slow and heavy, it cannot get itself there. What has that got to do with what we're here for? Mentorship? Okay, what else? Okay, good job. Anybody else? What it all means? Who is? Well, let's now make it part of our class in itself. We have two characters here. There's the tarot and there's the post and there's somebody getting it there. Who are you? Huh? What are you? Who is gonna get you up there? That's what I'm talking about. So do not ever underestimate where you are. As long as you have somebody who can get you where you need to go, we will get there. Okay? We will get there. So we are in a good shape. So we are going to get ourselves into tables, and then we'll have a mentor on every table, and we'll discuss these questions that you see on this piece of paper here. It should take us at most 1 minute and 17 seconds to get on those tables. So what we're gonna do is at least every mentor who is here occupy a table. If there is a mentor that you really want to talk about, one thing that I have never been able to put this across the way it was put in today, and I'm so happy as a parent and as a mentor, is that it is okay to follow your heart. It is okay to be whatever you want to be, as long as it can support your lifestyle. I've always tried to put it in a way where I say, I like what you're doing. I know you want to be a history teacher, but your lifestyle is not matching. So she put it, it's okay, but the lifestyle is what determines what you want to do. You said something, my wife this morning told me that I cannot believe any of my kids will end up in healthcare. She had a terrible night when she was there tonight, and she said, I don't want any of them in healthcare. And of course, none of my kids look like they'll end up in healthcare. Right? Let's move quickly. At least make sure every table, let's mix, if you're high schoolers, if your mentor will guide you into how they want it done. Ace, what does success mean to you personally, and who inspires that vision? What does success mean to you personally, and who inspires that vision?
To assess a half-cent sales tax so that we can provide childcare to families with children under the age of 5 at deeply subsidized and or free rates. Also, we like to give grants to childcare centers so that they can provide childcare that meets the standard. Okay, so we're hiring people right now. We're paying $22 an hour. Give me a show of hands of everyone in this room who's age 18 or older. And the hands of everyone in the room who is age 18 or older, including adults. Everybody over 40. And this flyers in the back.
Showing up and showing up on time is very, very important, especially if you're the what? Especially if you're the what? Say that loud. No, they are saying it right. Especially if you're the what? Because if the person who is meant to come and pick you up and put you on the fence shows up before you and they don't see you, then there is no task for them. Right? Yep. To know you and know what you do. Please introduce yourself, let them know what you do.